If you work at a business with an IT department, maybe they have a help desk, maybe they have a service desk, maybe they have a couple guys that you call when you have computer problems that set up your computer. You just call IT Joe and he comes running and takes care of it for you. Or maybe you're a student at a college or a university. You've likely interacted with IT in one way or another. I have trained, coached, managed IT departments and IT people and instructed them on how to handle customers for years. But another thing that I like to do is to teach customers, those end users of the technology, how best to interact with your IT department and how not to drive your IT people crazy. Your IT department or your service provider should give you some overview of how the process works. I have explained to people and I have changed processes enough and I have put together presentations for this is what we should tell the customer so the customer understands how our service desk works, how our help desk works, what to expect when they call us for service. Maybe your organization doesn't do that, maybe they don't have that readily available. Feel free to ask, but it's very important for you to understand the process. By understanding the process, you can be a good customer. Usually in IT, we have a few different terms that we use internally, and sometimes I have agents say it to customers on the phone. I don't like when they say it to customers on the phone. They shouldn't be saying it. Things like tier 1, tier 2, escalate. Chances are you don't understand how it works within our process, especially if you've never had it explained. Tier 1 is typically those people who are there to gather information and do the basic fixes. They have access to do a lot of things. They probably have access to change your password, check your account. They might even be able to remote into your computer, see what's happening, take screenshots, etc. Oftentimes, they're going to be able to solve most of your issues. Most of the time, your tier 1 person is going to be able to resolve 60 to 80% of the issues that come in. That's a lot of issues. That's most of the issues that come in. Depending on the organization, that could differ. In any organization, your tier 1 is triage. Your tier 1 is there to take in all the information from you, to gather the information, to document it, and either solve the issue or pass the issue off to tier 2 or tier 3, someone who has more access into that system that you need help on that can take care of it. It's very important to understand why you call tier 1, why your tier 1 is your single point of contact. If you have an IT problem, you call the help desk. Always. You always go to tier 1. You always go through that front door. Let's say you know the network administrator. Well, I know Billy. Billy's great. I've worked with Billy for many years. My Outlook isn't loading. I'm going to call Billy because I know Billy. Hey, Billy, I'm having an Outlook problem. Can you help me with this? He might be very cordial with you on the phone and he likes you. He hates you in that moment. He really doesn't like you because Billy was working on something else that was very big and very important, probably a giant project, and by calling him directly, you have made him less efficient. Another thing you have done by calling him directly is now your issue is not documented. Because you didn't call the help desk, the service desk, because you didn't go through the front door, the IT department now has no documentation of your issue. Because you know what? We don't expect Billy to make tickets. We give tickets to Billy so he can continue working on them. Billy doesn't make tickets. I have told my network admins at an organization, you don't make tickets. When a customer calls you directly, you know what you do? You tell them, I don't know how to make a ticket. You know why you tell them you don't know how to make a ticket? Because I don't want you making tickets. I teach my 56 help desk agents that are here to answer the phone to help your issues, to help get them to the right place. I have taught every single one of those people how to best enter a ticket, document a ticket, write a ticket, so not only we can look at it for stats and metrics later on. If I need to look up your computer and see how many problems you've had with it, I know I can do that because I've taught all my agents how best to enter the ticket. So now if you call up and you've had the 3rd problem with your computer in 7 years, I know about it, and I know that computer might have an issue with because we're documenting our tickets correctly. I know how many times you've called, every time you have called because of those metrics. That's why we need tickets for these. We need to track this documentation. And if Billy doesn't enter a ticket for that and you call into the help desk later and say, well, last time I called in and you helped me with this, we don't have a ticket for it and no one documented what we did to help you last time, so now it's going to take us longer to troubleshoot because you called the wrong person and we never got documentation. I train people to write the documentation in a way that we can go back and revisit it. If your Outlook wasn't working and you called the help desk and we gave you the answer, we would document it and we would write what we did to fix the problem. So the next time you call into the help desk, my Outlook's not working, same thing as before. Can you guys just do what you did last time? We'll look up your name, we'll find the issue. This is what it was last time. Okay, I'll do that again. And it might be a 2-minute thing. But because you called the network admin and destroyed his productivity for the day, because you didn't follow the process, you have actually made it worse for yourself later on. And you've made it worse for the company because we have no record of you calling and no record of your computer or your account having this issue. It is extremely less efficient to call someone who's not at tier 1. Maybe you have someone in your company who's the VP level, and what they do is they call another VP level every time they need IT help. I guarantee you that person who's giving the IT help on the other side does not like it when they do that because you're destroying their productivity. I've had this many times. People get my number, they know me, I've been at the organization for many years, they want to call me and get help because they know that I know things about things. That's great. But I'm in meetings most of my day. If you were to call one of my agents who I personally trained that's there at the help desk, guess what? If they don't know the answer and I'm the one to provide the answer, they will bring it to me and I'll get to it when I can. So it's still going to come to me. But they might know the answer and you might get help right away versus waiting for me to get out of my meeting. Or if you call your friend who happens to work in database administration because you know them and you leave them a message, maybe they're on vacation for a week or two. That's a single person. You just called one person, and that's a single point of failure. That person is not going to get back to you until that person can get back to you. And you know what I've told that person to do? You came in, you see that email, forward it to the help desk, we'll enter a ticket, and now guess what? You have been put to the back of the line again. Our 3 to 5 day response time, even if you called in 7 days ago and left a voicemail for someone who wasn't in the help desk, your 3 to 5 day turnaround time doesn't start until that ticket got entered. And you were dependent on that one person. Versus calling the help desk where I have 50 people waiting to take your call, you called that one person who happened to be out. Maybe they lost the email, maybe it went into their junk. And if you call the help desk back and say, I called 2 weeks ago, why isn't this done yet? I have no record of you calling the help desk. So technically, no, you have not reported it. If it didn't go in through the help desk door, if there's not a ticket for it, that means you didn't report it. If it's not in the ticket, it didn't happen. I tell my agents that all the time. Hey, did this happen? Yes. Why didn't you put it in the ticket? If it's not in the ticket, it didn't happen because there's no documentation. Same thing for you. If you don't call in through the help desk to the people who are literally there to answer your calls and enter tickets, it didn't happen. We don't have record of it, and we can't give you the quick turnaround time that you might deserve. It's very important to understand the process and why these processes are in place. The IT people, the good IT people, those tier 1 IT people, the level 1 help desk, people who are answering the phones and chats, we are your ally. We are the people who are there to understand what is happening to your technology so we can either fix it or we gather all the information so we can pass it to someone who can fix it, who does have the access to fix it, and we can explain to them what actually is wrong because we know how to use the jargon that you don't have to use and we don't want you to use to explain your issue. We ask enough questions to get all the information from you so we can write it out and pass it to someone so they don't have to ask as many questions and you can get helped faster. We are not your enemy. We are literally the ones fighting for you every single day. We are the ones who take all your information, hand it off, and we explain why it's important to you, why it's urgent for you, why you need it, and why they need to take care of you, and then we fight for you. And if you don't hear anything back in 3 to 5 business days, you call us back and say, hey, I just want to check on this ticket that I entered a few days ago. And we will keep pushing and fighting for you until you get your answer. That's what we do. It's very important to understand the process, to understand even the life cycle of a ticket or an incident. This is something I like explaining to my customers. Hey, when you call in, this is what happens to your ticket. We enter it. It gets this status. If you check your ticket, you will see this status. Once it's assigned, it gets this status. That's what this means. We don't close tickets. We just resolve tickets. We provide a resolution. We'll enter a resolution. You'll get an email. Your ticket has been resolved. You as the customer then have the choice to either accept that resolution or say, no, it didn't fix it for me, at which point that ticket reopens. If you say nothing, that ticket will close after a few days. A closed ticket cannot be edited. If you call in again, I need to reopen this issue. No, it's closed. We have to open a new ticket now. We can relate it to that, but because that issue got closed, now it's a new ticket, and so we'll just link it to that ticket so we know the history of it. I like to explain this process to customers so they understand the life cycle, the typical life cycle that a ticket will go through. Your organization may or may not be able to explain that to you. In my training and my coaching to leaders on how to manage a service desk, I tell them to create a communication plan, essentially a marketing plan, to tell you, the customer, this is how tickets work, this is how the life cycle of a ticket works, because it's important. Because you should know what to expect every time you enter a ticket. I don't know how we can expect you to understand the process if we're not willing to tell you the process. If they're not willing to help you understand the process, then of course you're not going to understand the process. So ask about the process, but also understand that when we tell you to call the help desk, it's not because we don't want to talk to you. It's not because we don't like you. It's because we don't want a single point of failure for you. We want you to be able to get one of the 30 to 50 people that we have sitting on that desk who's waiting to take your call. Even if you only have an IT department of a couple people, it's important to go through the right process. I have worked at organizations where they say, oh, just call this guy. He's the one who takes care of that. And I say, no, I want to enter the ticket. I don't want to go straight to someone because that's not the process. Why would I go straight to that person? I should go through the process. Unless your process is broken, then fix your process. When you understand the process, it'll definitely make your understanding of the IT department a lot better, and you'll be able to appreciate more all the things that we go through on the management side to make sure that you can get the same attention for your issue as your colleagues, and your colleagues can get the same attention as you, and that we're prioritizing things appropriately. If your colleague calls in and they have a bunch of issues that are not huge priority crushing issues, and you call in afterward, if your issue is urgent, more impact to your work than all of these issues are for your colleague, guess what? You get to jump to the front of the line. That's why it's important for you to be honest when you're telling us about your issue and how urgent it is. If you call in and say it's urgent and it's not, the next time you call and say it's urgent, I might question that. When you call in with an urgent issue, explain why it's urgent. Just don't say, this is urgent, this is dire. We have to make that judgment call to make sure we can address everything. Every call is urgent, then none of them are. In order for your urgent call to stand out, you need to be honest when things are actually urgent and when they're not. That's all a part of understanding the process, and that will get you better service faster, and your IT department will appreciate you more because you are respecting them and you're appreciating their process more. I hope you found this video helpful and informative. Please give me a like, and if you want to share this with someone, maybe you want to share it with your IT department or your colleagues who also call IT, please feel free to share, subscribe. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for tuning in.